We've all been through craziness. And I mean, as much as I learned from 2020, I'm ready for 2020 to straight go to hell and bring on 2021. If we continuously use the prism of red or blue to justify our actions, our inactions, our natural bias, or our own opinions, instead of using the premise of right or wrong, we are all screwed. Welcome to the Now or Never podcast, all things entrepreneurship, people who just take life and kick it square in the ass. I'm your special host. Well, I'm just your host, and Tim Rexius. We're going to do some different shorter ones. We're going to do some ones where it's just me. I just want to get some more consistency, and a lot of you guys have really liked the podcast. I got a lot of messages, especially the last one was King ISO. What an awesome podcast. What an awesome man. Just a pleasure to know him. But work's insane right now with all the 5 companies technically. And so it's just hard to get a time to schedule a guest. But I want to do things more consistently. I saw Andy Priscilla was doing 10 minutes and 15-minute ones. Then he'd have his guest on where it was an hour and a half. And I think we're going to try to follow that same exact format. And just instead of my Keeping It Real with Rexius videos I do on Instagram, we're going to do these back in the Now or Never podcast studio and just talk about things that are going on, things that are or what's up. Here's the thing. This last 2-3 months has been a colossal nightmare when it comes to business stuff. Good and bad. Wells Fargo decided to cut off our credit card processing because, Big Pharma owns Big Bank, and they designated protein powders as steroids. Because you don't want people healthy, you want them on those pharmaceutical drugs. And, I'm not going to take that shit. So we had to get new hardware, new software for all of our 7 locations plus 20 some franchises. And it's just, it's a lot. It's a big company. It's a lot of different moving parts and just getting that figured out. But, we're putting money into the business. We're putting every dime and dime we didn't even make back in the business right now to streamline for the next century. We've opened so many new stores and we're opening so many more. Being the last one left, that it's investments that need to happen, and it's never comfortable. And that's kind of, we're working on the 3rd gym, going to open sometime next month, and it's just one thing after another. I mean, can't blame everything on COVID, but a lot of things did, and the supply and demand chain is completely jacked up. So even trying to find air conditioning units is taking 8 to 12 weeks. And you can't run any duct work if you don't have any AC units, and you can't run any speaker wire or set your equipment or do anything until there's air conditioning units, handicap shower stalls, all the things that you find out when you get into buildings they're magically there when you use them as a consumer, but when you're in the owner part, it's like, oh no, you have to go find those things, and it's just not that easy. And finding equipment from Atlanta to Sacramento just to make sure we can get that baby open, it's just been. I'm talking 80-hour weeks minimum, 18-hour days, half the week. Not just me, my badass wife is doing the same thing. So it's been insane. And today's topic is staffing. It's been the worst I've had to deal with in probably the last 20 years in business, is getting people to go to work. And it's funny, the people who are working the most for me, like on the part-time aspect, are the people who don't even need the money. I think it speaks to a mentality of where we're at in society. Now, I don't blame anyone, and don't get political on my ass. I don't blame anyone for understanding the math of this last year. In all, for me, it's a character issue. It's a core value issue for me. That's all it is. I don't judge anyone who. A lot of people who lost their jobs who needed that check. Nothing wrong with that at all. But there's a lot of 19 to 22-year-old kids that could do many jobs who are still collecting the money. And it's taken away from the family folks who actually do need it. And that's where I think the abuse of the system is where I get upset. Businesses like ours, or every small business, rely on those part-time workers, that 18 to 28 crowd that, needs to make a few extra bucks because their full-time job, they haven't elevated up high enough yet to get that income where they don't need that secondary income. I mean, I did that for decades myself. And anyways, and it's been the point where now I'm bribing people to work. I used to have people fight over Saturday and Sunday shifts because they're very short. And now I'm having to pay people extra to work the whole thing open to close because I don't have enough staff members willing to work it. When I tell you I have 40 people on staff and it's hard to get 4 stores covered in the city of Omaha on a weekend, it's insane. Every 19 to 22-year-old person thinks they need every weekend off. And I just find the entitlement to be kind of ridiculous. But one kid told me he made over 20 grand last year not working between stimulus payments, and he had his own LLC, never made money, but got the $10,000 idle advance because he happened to be in, the targeted area, and then, the unemployment. And I don't blame the man for knowing the math. That's not his fault. I just told him to his face, it comes down to a character issue, where you set your core values. And here's the advantage of it though, too. Some of my best part-time employees, the younger ones, I can't keep them. I mean, there's so little competition as far as people who are going for some of these jobs, like you've seen it across the United States, guys. I've been in 15 states in the last 3 months. This is everywhere. This is not a Midwest. This is not a coast, a South or North issue. This is everywhere issue, every business, no matter what it is, from restaurants to amusement parks to retail. We're all having a hell of a time finding people to work. And for anyone out there, pay them more. Trust me, guys, if I could, I would. It's retail. We're paying rent. We're paying insurance. We're paying every state freaking tax there is. There's not as much money. People, the owners of companies aren't sitting around buying their 5th vacation home, guys. I'm just trying to keep my kids in school, keep a roof over our head like anybody else is. And so it's not about, you can't pay part-time workers $20 an hour or 15. I mean, you just can't. I mean, you can give them 12, 13, and I bonus them. I do what I can. I stay very competitive, but it's not a payment issue. It's literally, there's just not a lot of work ethic. But back to my point is that I have this young kid who works for me that is phenomenal. He only worked for me for probably 6 months, and was working at another business in town. Was his full-time gig. They're working for me, and he decided to shoot for the moon, and go for the big job in Denver. And he got the job, and his last week is in a week or two from now. And I hate to lose him. He's fantastic. At the same point, I have to applaud him. I'm like, you better put me as a reference on your resume type situation, because the people with talent and drive right now, the world is your oyster. Okay, the sky is the limit. If you're very employable and you're willing to work very hard and you, especially right now, actually work, you can move up the ladder so quick and so fast. And it's what an awesome, wonderful opportunity if you have drive. Because a lot of people that maybe only worked because they needed the check. And there's a lot of people that do that. And I understand that. And I'm not faulting them. Personally, I don't think less of them, but a lot of people only work when they desperately need the money. They only work when they're broke. Some people work to achieve. Some people work to climb to for the life that they want in 20 years from now. And they have that long vision. I'm one of those people. And some people, like I said, just work till they're broke. Well, the problem is a lot of them aren't broke, and that's okay. I mean, I'm glad you're not broke, but at the same point, you're eventually going to be broke, and people are going to ask, and employers, and this is happening because I've done it myself. What have you done the last year? Explain it to me when we're looking to hire somebody. And we have literally added a lot of staff to our corporations because, well, we're growing like crazy because I work the whole time. And there's been 3 or 4 people like, well, I got unemployment. And I go, what else did you find another job? No, I just collected unemployment until it ran out. Okay. And I applaud their honesty. At the same point, that kind of core value is not something that's going to mesh with the structure that I built my company. I wish them the best of luck, and I'm just move on to somebody else who has a more like mindset like me, because you have to work for me. You have to embody the things that make the Rexius corporations what they are. And if we're not on the same pace, it's not going to be a good working environment for you any more than it is for me. So like I said, guys, I really compartmentalize it. I don't get emotional about it, but it is a struggle that we're dealing with right now in our economy and in our society. And there's going to hit a stopping point. And what I would say is right now, if you're one of those people that's worked the whole time and really grind, shoot for that next job promotion, shoot for that, start your own business right now. We've opened 2 new franchises already in the last 3 months. We're opening 2 more in the next 2 months. We have a 3rd gym opening because I have no competition right now, guys. There's none. Everyone else is still kind of playing safety. They're on triage right now. And I get that in some industries, and I get that in some areas of the country. But if you're here in the Midwest, it's foot on the gas pedal. Stop idling. See how much horsepower is under the hood and go. And like Nick and I were just texting my business partner in the gyms that this is one of those things we look back in 5 years from now and we say that we're glad we did that. Well, absolutely. This is one of these stories 5 years from now. I say I go from doing very well to the 1% because I'm literally all in. And this is all companies. This is VHI. This is Iron Heaven. This is Rexius Nutrition. This is Rexius Franchise. This is everything. I'm going for all of it. And I'm finally making the big changes and the big investments. And sure shit, like I'm probably more broke than I ever have been because I've literally bought out partners. I put so much into everything because I don't want to sit around in 30 years from now and wonder what if I had taken the chance. So that's just going to stats where we're at, why I haven't been doing as many podcasts. I'm going to do more of these short stories, these short things. Just listen, I want you all to keep your head up. I want you to know what's going on. I want you to take some lesson from the things I talk about. I want you to take some motivation from the things I talk about, and understand like you're not alone. I know most people who watch my podcast are the kind of people that want to be on the other side. They want to create a legacy for their kids and their grandkids. They want people to remember their name 5 generations from now. They're the type of people that are willing to work now like no one else will, so later they can live like no one else can. It's always going to be the time and money paradox. And I'm going to do another video on that here shortly, but it's the time and money. You have to give up your time now for money now. So later you have enough money that you have all the time you want. And that's the question. Some people are not willing to work as hard as I'm willing to work. They just don't want that. That's okay, guys. That doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you, it doesn't make me greedy for wanting more either. It doesn't, I don't judge anyone from that. Just understand that that's okay. You want to give up, you want to make less money, or you want more time. Cool. You're going to make less money. You don't get the same lifestyle unless you have the same work ethic. That's just a fact of life. I think the last year that's kind of gotten lost, especially with some of the younger generation. And I think that lesson learned is going to be a very hard lesson learned. And I'm already seeing it right now. And it breaks my heart for some of these folks that, they got caught up into a lot of the free money thing. And I'm glad that that was available for us last year when none of us knew it was going to go on. But a lot of people, there are some people who took advantage of it too. And I think that there's going to be some hard lessons learned from that as well. So keep grinding, keep hustling, make your passion your paycheck. Do not be satisfied with the status quo. If you are that type of person, this probably ain't your podcast. You're probably not listening. You probably turned it off like 10 minutes ago. But anyways, keep grinding, keep hustling, and just wait to see the things that Rexius Nutrition, Rexius Franchising, Iron Heaven Gyms, Vita Health International, VHI, OPP Popcorn. I'm telling you right now, 2021, 2022, this shit's gonna go national. This is gonna be one of those stories like, hey, I watched that guy's podcast when he first got started. And you just wait and see. All my haters, please take a front seat and get your popcorn. It's gonna be a freaking show. Thanks, guys.